he works for Israel. I don't work for Israel. Oh, Israel first. No, England first. Yeah, England will always be first for me. England is first. Britain is first. But I do sympathise with the situation Israel in. They're a liberal democracy surrounded by totalitarian Islamic Sharia-driven shitholes.
How you guys doing? This is Sahar TV, and in today's video we'll see Tommy Robinson, who's being accused for being a Mossad agent for getting paid by Israel to speak for Israel. He's going to clarify everything, and we're going to watch it right now.
You've had a pro-Israel stance for as long as I've known you.
Since the first day. So it's nothing like, people are like, oh, Mossad. It's like, oh, fuck it, really? Do you know why they say I'm Mossad? Because when I went to Israel, I bought a Mossad t-shirt from the souvenir shop.
Oh, come on. I own one of these. Maybe I work for the Mossad, huh? Why in the world would I wear this? Why would he wear this if we actually work for the Mossad? We need to be secretive. Nobody needs to know about this.
New York, I bought a New York Police Department bloody t-shirt. I weren't in the New York Police Department, lads. And that's a bit stupid of me if I was Mossad to be wearing a Mossad t-shirt, wouldn't it? But I don't really care, yeah? And I'll tell you why I don't care.
Okay.
Because I look at myself if I was an Israeli and if I was Jewish. And I look at the history of what happened to Jews. And then I look at the argument from the left and from the Muslims and I think, where do you want them to go? Historically, it's their land anyway. Shut up, there's no argument about it, yeah? It's historically Israel is Jewish land, yeah? But there's 55 Islamic nations. Why can't they have one? Why do you, and how many of the Islamic nations are taking in the Palestinians? Egypt's got a wall twice as big as Donald Trump's.
Oh yeah.
How many are Saudi taking in? Qatar. None of them want to take him in. And then I look at the argument of the Israeli and Jewish issue, yeah? Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, is 7% Jew hatred. The Quran is 11%. If we get rid of the Israel land dispute, do the Islamists and the radicals hate the Jews or not? Yes, they do. But where are the Jews meant to go? Where do you want them to go? If they can't go to Israel, where are they meant to go? What would I do if I was Israel? And I look at the previous wars, the 6-day war, the 7-day war. I look at that and I see that the Islamic leaders of the Islamic nations surrounding them actually said, we're taking your women and we're taking your children as slaves. We're taking them as war booty. So they've been in this position where if they're not strong, they're wiped off the face of the map. Their daughters are being So what do you want them to do? You're fighting. Do people even understand who Hamas are? Hamas are ISIS. They are ISIS. The Hamas, and I try and draw this comparison to people in England to understand. England, Scotland, on the border. Scotland elect a government, because this is what the Palestinians done, with a majority population. There was two different parties, both were terrorist groups, but they elected Hamas. And on Hamas, in their manifesto, it says the final day of judgment does not come until every Jew is dead. Not every Zionist, every Jew. So imagine Scotland elected a government that says the final day of judgment does not come until every Englishman is dead. And then that government, with funding coming from other jihadist scumbag shitholes, that government used their money to then fire rockets every day at our families in England. What would we be doing? What would we be saying to our government? Go and get them. Bomb them. And then they come over the border and they rape and pillage 1,400 people. And they're all cheering about it. And then not just they're cheering about it, but in every Western liberal democracy in the whole world, Iranian proxy armies are waving flags and celebrating it as well. So I look at all of that and I just think, if they were successful and they obliterated Israel, do you really think they're stopping at Israel? You don't see that they're coming straight for Europe? Hamas said on October 8th, the day after October 7th, Israel's not our target. Rome, London. Okay? People need to understand, I understand the mindset of the jihadists. I understand the Islamic mindset. So I get it, yeah? Most people don't. Most people don't. And not just they don't, they're so thick. But I haven't had no money off Mossad, so if they want to give me money, and I get so much shit for it anyway. Most of my shit comes from FNATs, comes from the far right, and all of it is that and I see some of the comments, and I just think, Jesus, he works for Israel. I don't work for Israel. Oh, Israel first. No, England first. Yeah? England will always be first for me. England is first. Britain is first. But I do sympathise with the situation Israel in. They're a liberal democracy surrounded by totalitarian Islamic Sharia-driven shitholes.
You have to understand something. Tommy is fighting for the UK for the same reasons Jews are fighting for Israel. He wants Islamists gone, just like Israel wants Islamists gone, because both Islamist groups in Israel and in the UK cause the same chaos.
People like you have talked about this strange alliance between the radical left and Islamists. And I think the only explanation, the only sensible one is it's a sort of marriage of convenience. The radical left and the Islamists want to see the Western world fall. So they're united. That's the one thing that they agree on.
What did they do in Lebanon? What did they do in Iran? Exactly the same. They come together to overthrow the status quo because the Marxists want to break down the whole system. Who can they align with to do it? And not just that, they all hate the Jews. No, it's not just that. It's not just about convenience. The left hate the Jews. The middle class hate the Jews, yeah? Not the working class in the UK. Go to a working class estate, yeah? We don't hate Jews. But the education system and what's infiltrated the education system, like the prison system can't deal with Islam in jail. Well, the universities can't deal with Islam in universities. They should just shut down the Islamic Society. But the Islamic Society, usually funded by Qatar or Iran, is promoting and propaganda against Jews, against Israel. Israel are losing this war, yeah? Not the war in Israel. They're losing the war of the minds of Western countries because the populations are being targeted with proxy war coming with massive funding. And do you know what they're now doing, which people don't even see, is Qatar used to fund £750 million. Qatar would fund this country. They'd fund mosques. They funded all the segregation and separation in Paris and in these Islamic ghettos was funded by Qatar. But they would fund all these things. And the way to convert and Islamise Europe used to be through mosques and dawah centres and conversions. Now it's through influencers. So a lot of the influencers you'll see on the right, whether it be Sneeko, you know Sneeko?
Of course.
You know he's gay, yeah?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so there's an interview of Sneeko and he's sitting doing an interview and he says, he says, when I was about 17, 18, I weren't sure if I was gay or not. You're gay, mate. If you're not sure if you're gay, Sneeko, yeah? But
Oh my God, what a serious accusation by Tommy Robinson. Oh my God. Tommy, love you, brother.
Sneeko and all these they all convert to Islam. And there's a massive trend going on right now. Boxers are doing it. It furthers their career. Who's in charge of the boxing? Saudi Arabia, all these Islamic nations. It furthers them in their career. But all these influencers doing the same. Yeah, the Sneeko went and converted, and then he done it was a very high-end video going to Saudi Arabia for the Hajj, all this bullshit. Mate, you'll get thrown off a rooftop if you were yourself. But I'm watching all that. They're funding.
If Sneeko was actually gay, I don't know if he is, he would have gotten killed for his views and his beliefs.
And they're winning through the influencers who are then promoting hatred against Israel, against Jews. And do you know why? Because it's easy. It's easy to be against Israel. No one's going to punch you up when you walk down the street. If you're pro-Israel, if you're pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine, no one's going to beat you up. You come out and start telling the truth or speaking up for Israel, everyone wants to get you. It's a difficult position, and I don't expect most cowards to take that position. I just tell the truth, and I don't really care. And that doesn't mean Israel's perfect at all, far from it. Yeah, but when the American government were dropping bombs and invading every country, yeah, I didn't blame every American person. I accepted that Biden was a piece of shit who was a puppet for many other warmongering groups. I accept that there's problems within Israel, as there's problems within Britain. That doesn't mean you have to hate every Jew. Yeah, the majority of Jews I know are great people. And they love Britain. Any of the Jews I know in Britain are great. You want them all to leave. Take all the money with them as well. Leave us with loads of bloody Somalis. Great choice. I tell you what, get all the highly educated Jews to leave and we'll import a load more fucking medieval people from the backward societies. No. So, I do get a lot of backlash for speaking up on behalf of Israel. I've been to Israel. I funded, I don't know if you saw, when I went to Israel, I paid young Arabs, Muslims, and I paid them to take me to a Fatah-controlled refugee camp in Bethlehem. So I went there, I risked my life. I could have got killed. If they'd have known who I was, I'd be dead. Yeah? And I went in and spent a day in a refugee camp. And when I spent that day in, I wanted to see from their perspective. The gentleman who took me round was a 4th generation refugee. And as he took me round, he said, Tommy, he didn't know who I was, but he said, my children will be 5th generation, their children will be 6th generation, and theirs will be 7th generation.
Guys, that is effed up. Do you understand that these people who were allegedly displaced from their lands are refugees inside their land, in the land that was given to them by the UN, in the land they claim they're indigenous to, and they're still considered to be refugees? Stop with this nonsense. These people are not refugees. And if they are refugees, then they should probably go back to where they came from, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, or other parts of the world.
We're never getting out of here. The reason being, we in Palestine, from Free Palestine, have had 2 times as much money than Germany had after the World War. And we all still live in squalor. Because the money doesn't go to us. It goes to war. And we'll forever be kept like this to benefit, because they bring European politicians in. Do you know why I left that camp, that refugee camp? I wanted to give them money. I'm one of the most strongest advocates against Hamas and against Palestinian Authority, and I wanted to give them money. It works. And I said to my mate Dean, because a lad I went to school with, black lad I went to school with, I said, Bruv, I'll do anything to get my kids out of poverty, and I'll do anything for giving my kids a good future. And what that gentleman told me in that camp was that the Palestinian, I said, who oppresses you? And I expected him to say Israel, yeah? And he said, the Palestinian Authority. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the Palestinian Authority pay anyone here. If you go and kill an Israeli, so then I said to him, so if someone leaves this camp and murders a Jew in Israel, he said, no, an Israeli. It doesn't matter if it's a Jew or not, yeah? I was like, okay, so someone leaves here and murders an Israeli, they get money for the rest of their life from the Palestinian
Pay
Authority.
to slay. It's called pay to slay. It's a monthly stipend.
And
It's
I was
real. Yeah.
No, and then I looked up the Palestinian Authority, and I looked, it's our money. It's British taxpayers' money.
It's not only that, they also get celebrated. Posters are being printed. Streets are renamed after the shaheeds, after the martyrs. It's a disgusting behavior, which of course gets more people to commit terrorism.
So I thought, we're paying tax to pay people from this refugee camp to go out. And then I viewed, hold on, everything I thought I knew. So some of these people are just simply mercenaries. Maybe they don't even believe in Islam. Maybe this isn't jihad. Maybe they're just killing to get their family out of this shithole. Yeah. But I thought a lot. And then when I went to the Golan Heights when I was there. And I stood on the Golan Heights, and bombs were going off in Syria at the time. 2015, was it? I can't remember. Bombs are going off. And I said to some Muslim lad, because every Muslim I met, I wanted to ask them what they thought. And I said to a Muslim lad, how happy are you living in Israel? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, how difficult is it for you as a Muslim? He looked at me like I was an idiot. He said, I pray 5 times a day, mate. Yeah? Because I've got everything I want here. He said, where do you think I want to be over there? He pointed to where the bombs are going off. Because Israel's okay. And I didn't realise that there's 20% are Muslim, living happily. And as we went through, there's about 1,000 young Arabs. And they're doing camel racing. I spoke about this earlier, around to go. There's about 1,000 young, and I've got a T-shirt that says, I love Israel. Yeah? And I say, pull the car over, stop the car. We're going over there, yeah? And as we're walking over there, I see lads with Kalashnikovs, machine guns. And I'm thinking, what's going to happen? I've got an I love Israel T-shirt on, yeah? I'm about to bloody eyelid. And I've walked into them all, and I'm saying, all right, lads, Trump had just got elected. So it was 2016. Yeah. Trump had just got elected. I said, what do you think of Donald Trump? And they said, America needs strong man. This is all these Muslims, yeah. I'm thinking everything I thought
Because
I knew.
the Muslim world generally respects strong leaders.
Muslim men generally respect. Do you know when I walk through Luton, I have some of their main gangsters coming over, and they put their hand out, and he goes, Tommy, and he shakes my hand like that. He goes, I don't like you, but I respect you. He said, you stand up for what you believe in, yeah? The only language Islam understands, I learnt this growing up, is that. The only language the Muslim gangs understand is, we're not bothered by you. If you show them one bit of weakness, they will bully and run all over you. Yeah? I learned that as a kid. You can't do it. You can't show them weakness. So, but what I really...
That is exactly why we cannot negotiate with terrorists. We need to show them force, and force like they've never seen before. What's happening in Gaza right now is nothing from what we should have actually shown on the ground.
I realised when I was in Israel, everything I thought I knew was the opposite. So then I come back from there, and then I have some blue-haired clown telling me about Free Palestine. And I'm just like, well, have you ever been there? Have you ever been and spoke to any of the refugees? Ever spoke to any Muslims who live in Israel, happily live in Israel? None of them. They think we hear about all this, what do they call it, a thingy state, Israel,
An apartheid state.
An apartheid state. Well, tell the Muslim politician in Israel that it's an apartheid state. I didn't realise, so as I looked and learned a lot, so I think most people talk from they believe the bullshit and they look at Pallywood. I don't believe anything I watch, it's impossible to. It's impossible to. What I do believe and what I know is that Hamas belong in the 7th century. Yeah? And that mindset belongs in the 7th century. And Israel, when I went there, was a beautiful country, and they're not scared. And they have to be fearless. And if they don't fight, they'll be gone. They'll be gone. There'll be no Israel. There'll be no Jews. So that's where I stand on it. And I don't care how many people that upsets. No, I'm not being paid a shekel for it either. Yeah? I just don't give a shit. I speak my mind on any of my beliefs, and always have. And and I'm a friend to you see the Jews in Britain? You see when that started happening with Hamas? I think it was important that the British men stood up and said, we stand with you. Yeah? This pretending that the British public hate Jews, yeah? No, the middle class, educated university types are coming out indoctrinated from an education system. You used to worry about your kids going to university and getting hooked on drugs. Now you've got to worry whether they're going to come out a tranny or a jihadist.
Guys, the more I watch Tommy Robinson, the more I like him. And we can take away a lot of things from this guy. What I like the most is be yourself. Be real. Say what you actually think. Show power. Show force. Don't be a wimp. That's how you win a war with Islamists. He's right. 20% of Israeli citizens are Arabs with equal rights. They can vote, they can work, they can open businesses, they can do whatever they want. They can also become the prime minister if they get voted in. So the main takeaway from this video, Tommy Robinson wanted to learn by going to Israel and going to the West Bank and learning from the Palestinians and Israelis. You should do the same. You should definitely visit Israel, visit Arab cities, see how they live, see what they say about the government, see what they say about the people, and that's how you can make up your mind. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to support me financially, you can do that using Buy Me Coffee or Patreon down in the links in the description. Please don't forget to join our Discord in the link in the description, and you can now become a YouTube member and enjoy specific YouTube perks. Thank you for being here. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye-bye.